Welcome to another episode of the Journey That Goes On podcast. I'm your host, Wallace Spearmon, and live in the house, we have LaShawn the Machine Merritt. What's happening, boss?
Man, happy to be here.
Man, I sure appreciate you stopping by, checking us out. And before we jump into this, we're just going to go over a few of your accolades. So, man, you have a resume for them to hear. Say 2006 Outdoor U.S. Champ Silver, 07 U.S. Champ Silver, 2008 Olympic Trials Champion, 2008 Olympic Trials Champion, 2009 U.S. Outdoor Champs Champion, 2011 World Championship Silver, 2012 Olympic Trials Champion, 2013 USA Outdoor Championship Champion, 13 World Champion, 15 Silver, 15 Silver again. That must be indoor outdoors. We got 2016 Olympic Trials Champion and 2016 Olympic Games Bronze Medalist. Bro, you got some hardware.
Man, we put in some years. We put in some work, man. I was able to fall in love with the process, and that's what happened when you become a high performer versus a high achiever. You start to fall in love with it and see those accomplishments as not as high so you can keep doing it again.
Well, yeah, that's definitely true. That holds true as well. But we're going to start off a little untraditional today.
Let's do it.
So you and I have a history together, and I know probably more about you than most do.
Okay.
So I'll say, I know you came up in Virginia, and I'm about to say you actually came up to a visit to Arkansas whenever you were seeing where you wanted to go to college.
I did. I did Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Florida State during my visit. I remember coming up to Arkansas, and you and your Hummer riding me around, and Tyson up there and everything. It was a good time, man.
Yeah, absolutely. But where'd you end up going to school?
Ended up going to East Carolina and North Carolina. You know, it was a deal where it was a freshman group that was supposed to come in, and it wasn't that far away from home. And we had some family issues prior to me graduating that I didn't want to go that far. And I knew the sport was one of those sports where wherever I went, the time would show on the board and everybody would see it. So as long as I went somewhere and handled business, I was going to be all right.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We were definitely sad when you didn't commit to Arkansas, but we heard that you wanted to stay at home. You didn't want to go that far, but your career went far. That's what I will say for sure.
I appreciate it.
So speaking of that, okay, we talked about where you went to college, and then we're going to go ahead and pop this off as well. I know some of you old heads remember this because he robbed us of the greatest race we never got to see, and I know y'all were mad as me about it. Look, 2005 indoor NCAA championship. Somebody, I believe, you break the world record, or what'd you run, 44?
I ran 44.90-something. I cracked the 44 where I broke the 45 barrier. But I think a couple of weeks after that was NCAA's.
Exactly. And you and Karan and the whole world wanted to see this race. The whole world wanted to see this dang race. And this man decides to just do it.
Yeah, man. I ended up running a race in Arkansas a couple of weeks before.
Tyson
Invitational. And I was a freshman, and it was all elite athletes, and I won. And 2 or 3 weeks later, well, maybe 2 weeks later, Nike called me and said, look, we're going to pay you to give up your eligibility. We'll still get paid for whatever college you want to go to, and we're going to give you this multi-million-dollar contract. So it was deuces.
Yeah, all right. That was the race you beat me in. You went pro first, too. So, yeah, you started off the career on the right foot. My man went in there and did the thing. So, the career took off, and I commend you for everything that happened after that.
Appreciate it.
We'll talk about some other races as well. So, I think there was a 300-meter race that happened in Arkansas one time, too.
Indoor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who won that? You won that. You won that, didn't you?
I didn't think I was going with you. And I remember getting to the line. I reached back trying to dip, and you were right there. I was like, if this is 100 more meters, this is over with. I'm not a 400-meter runner. That's what I do.
I remember that 3, man. Our plan was to go in and just run hard. And indoor, I always had problems with indoor. I remember my first world championship indoor that I made. I think it was probably 2005, 2006. First round, 400. I was probably the first heat. Stepped on the line, got DQ'd.
What?
We was in Moscow, Russia.
Oh, I was there. I remember that.
Yeah, I got DQ'd. And my dad was there and everything, man. I was pissed.
I remember.
And I was so nervous because I said, look, this 4x4 coming up, I can't step on the line and get everybody DQ'd. So I had to lock in, and that was the first time, or the first when I turned pro that I had like a disappointment, but I bounced back from it.
So you faced adversity, and like, what helped you get through that though?
During that time, my dad was there with me. My dad always told me, well, my mom would always tell me go and have fun. My dad would always tell me I was meant for something special, and things happen, But I remember crying after that, bro. Like I was in the back, like, and my time ended up being faster than the time that won it, and that was the first round. So I said, my dad was like, man, you'll run 1 million races. You just getting started. Don't worry about it. And I'm happy to have such a great support system all my life.
And I'm about to say, I think you came back. You bounced back from that disqualification. You came back to win the gold medal in the football 4. And I believe that was 06.
06.
I'm about to say in 07, 08, man, just kind of watching you grow and develop at a young age. I'm about to say you were definitely one of the youngest kids. What was that like being at such a young age, being around all these adults and people, just traveling the world by yourself as well?
It forced me to grow up quick. It did. I turned pro at 18. Obviously, people know in the sport of track and field, it's individual sports, so you have to figure out who's going to be your agent, who's going to be your coach, which environment works best for you, and how to silence the noise because, contracts may be if you're not top 3, you might get reduced.
Absolutely.
So, and then I'm 18 competing against guys who have responsibilities and they're running to feed their families and they have kids and have bills. So it forced me to grow up quick. I continue to have fun with it, but I knew it was serious. So I buckled down, isolated, picked a team not based on just people being good, but the character and people I could get along with. And we rode it out for a long time.
Exactly. I remember watching some battles between you and maybe Jeremy Warner and Karani James, man. You all made the 400. Very interesting. I remember at one point throughout your career, a little bit later, you got injured. I think at 2012, you were injured at the games in London, right?
Yeah, it was. I was undefeated that year, too. I had won World Championships. This was London games. I won Olympic trials. And we were doing a tune-up meet, man, in Monte Carlo. It was like 3 weeks before, and I ended up pulling a hamstring.
Damn, I didn't know that. And I was there.
That was in Monte Carlo. I was out good and got down the backstretch. I was going around the curve, and I don't know if I was in the inside or outside of Karani, and I went to make a move, and I felt a cramp. I was like, hold on. Then I went to cycle again, and it was still there, so I just stopped. Then I found out I had like a small tear in my hamstring, man. We did so much hyperbaric chamber, laser therapy, everything to try to get it back. Then the nerve had been disrupted. That first round I went out and just couldn't push around the curve. So I said, man, that next day I flew home. I didn't get to enjoy London at all. I flew home, did the recovery I needed to do so I could come back next year. I knew the next year was World Championships. And I ended up winning a lot that next year. So it's one of the things that happened and I take pride in really taking care of my body. So when that happened, I was like, oh my goodness. But it happens though, man. That's life.
It happens to the best of them,
That's
for sure.
life.
I'm about to say, I'm going to highlight some other races and other events as well. So I know you're known for the 400, but I'm not sure if people know. I know you represented the USA at a World Championships in the 200-meter dash, and I think you have a sub-20 PR in the 200 as well. I know you do.
I do, man. I think my 200 is 1970-something.
I think it's 78, maybe 76.
Yeah.
You beat me. I was.
I made when was it? It was 2016 games.
Huh? In the 200?
Yeah, I was the only one who made the final in the 200, 2016.
Now that I didn't know.
Yeah, so it was, I think me, Gatlin, and I can't remember who else was on that team. So I ran 3 rounds of the 4, and I was the only person to make the final in the 200.
I remember that now. And Andre DeGrasse won.
Yeah.
20
No. Bolt won.
Bolt won, and DeGrasse got second.
And I was angry a little bit because that whole year we didn't train for the 2. Coach Brooks was like, man, we're going to just train for this 4. We're going to train for this 4. And when I got there, I made the team. Then I got there, and I didn't understand how to run championship rounds of the 2. So I'm just spinning my wheel. I feel like I could have medaled in that Olympics, but I was just out running where other people knew how to set up the race.
Wait, I would say you have to bear with me. How many rounds? There were 3 rounds then or 4 rounds then?
3 rounds of the 400. So I had already ran 3 rounds of the 4. I think I had like a day or 2 off before I started the rounds of the 200.
Man, that's a lot of running right
yeah,
there.
It was. And then had to come back and run the 4x4. But it was good. It was good. I just wish I would have trained that year for the 2. Training meaning doing more speed endurance work, knowing the positions and how to move in that race because my legs were tired. So I had to go to the knowledge of something versus spinning the wheels. And I remember myself just spinning the wheels in the final. And I wasn't applying as much force. I was running more like a quarter miler than a sprinter. So with my legs being tired, I was just bouncing and other people were really sprinting.
How many coaches did you have in your career?
I had Dwayne Miller, Lawrence Seagrave, Brooks Johnson. And then the last part of my career for like a year or 2, I was at with Dennis Mitchell.
I was about to say, what was your favorite group or the favorite dynamic training group?
Dwayne.
Really?
Yeah. I was just by myself mostly.
You like that better?
Yeah. And then we would bring in some guys who did who were quicker to help me with shorter distances. And when I had to do road work, I had a guy who would come in and just do the road work with me.
I'm about to say that's unique because most people feel like iron sharpens iron. So they want somebody to push them at practice. But then I guess you're right. Maybe the attention isn't always on you. So that might make it a little bit harder to focus on what you need to execute rather than trying to race every day.
And then I come from a background where in high school it was only 5 of us on the team. Then I went to college, it was what it was. But then I turned pro 3 or 4 months in. So with Dwayne, since I was younger, we would break film down. It was a lot of one-on-one type stuff. We would break film down. In the training, with it just being focused on me, I could develop that positive voice or know what to do because he's yelling just at me. So when I'm in competition, I remember these voices. I remember what to do, opposed to it being like a big group. And I'm a little introverted. Not necessarily me. I don't like groups because I enjoy groups. But in that individual sport, I was a little selfish.
Yeah, but you have to be successful in the sport, so there's definitely nothing wrong with that. Yeah. And I'm about to say, speaking of being selfish now, all right, I'll ask you this question. You spent you spent a lot of your youth, a lot of your life perfecting a craft. But like everyone, that comes to an end. Mm-hmm. So what have you been doing since you left track and field? What have you been up to?
So when I first retired, I retired because I had a toe injury. I had a bone spur. They had to go in and cut my toe. And I tried to train for like 2 years after that, but it was tough, man. It was tough from watching the way I slept to having to do a lot of mobility when I woke up to heating it to not being able to train with the intensity day after day and stress it because of just having scar tissue build up. Then after practice, having to do all these things, and I'm spending more money, and I'm getting cut every year because I'm not making a team. And I said, man, I need to be done. So then I didn't know what I was going to do, right? No college degree.
What does that feel like? I'm going to say you are elite. You are a world. You are
right.
Top 3 in the world, top 2, top 1.
And nobody's checking for me. It's one of those sports where they're not going to come knocking on your door trying to, hey, we know you this person. We want you to do this. So it was a time, and especially being that I handled the sport the way I handled it because of my brother. The whole deal was my brother passed away. He was 5 years older than me. He never got a chance to see me run. When I was younger, he would always give me incentives in all the other sports. Baseball, you hit a home run, man, I give you this, I give you that. I never got a chance to see me run. So when I chose to do it and I noticed I had a talent, I said I'm going to pour everything into this because he's not here to do anything. I know he would have did something with his life. Ladies' man, athlete, musician, the whole 9, right? So I did what I had to do. And it was maximizing that because he wasn't here to do anything. So once that was over, I dealt with sort of an identity crisis. Like, okay, like what do I like to do? Who am I? And there were some dark times in the middle of that because I knew if I wanted to do something to reach the level that I did at first, it was going to take so much. It was going to take so much sacrifice and getting into another lane. And I didn't want to spend the rest of my years on doing something else when I got 6 nieces and nephews that I missed grow up. No kids, no serious relationships, so I really poured into that. So I need to figure out myself. Now, afterwards, it was, okay, what do I do? I didn't know. So I contacted some people who knew me, and they put me around this network, and I was able to show up in places first with the medals. The people recognized me with the medal, so they gravitated to me with that, but then they saw the character in me, which exuded kindness, gratitude, just humility. And now I'm able to be in these rooms without those medals because I've always wanted to feel like I accomplished what I did, and it wasn't just because of my DNA. I had people coming to me, oh, Val, you just fast and this and that. You know, it's a lot more than that.
You chose your parents right, exactly.
Yeah, and I was able to put it together here. So I felt like afterwards, whatever I got into, if I put the same formula together here that I did approaching the sport, I would be all right. I just didn't know what I would put that in, which was knowing that delayed gratification, dotting my I's, crossing my T's, knowing that the environment mattered, all these type of things. And I contacted Dave Pascal. He's my chiropractor I had for many years. He traveled the world with me. He was one of the guys that the last person I would see sometimes before I stepped on the track, just to make sure I had the alignment, mind, body, and soul, but I knew how important my physical alignment was because we're dealing with tenths of seconds and the impact and the force and it being a contact sport really because of how much force you can apply to the ground. So I knew I had to get that right. So I contacted him. He put me in contact with a few chiropractors, and I contribute a lot of my success to chiropractic care a little bit because of that alignment and know how important that is. And they get looked over a lot because of Big Pharma, the chiropractors. So once I got into this group where I let them know how important they were to me and how they could make Olympic and world champions, I started doing some speaking just around that and just telling my story. And there's been an impact in that. You know, they've been able to use me. I've been able to let people know how important they are because they maybe get looked over sometimes. So I've been speaking to at different conventions with chiropractors, business professionals, entrepreneurs, just telling my story. And I've realized there's a uniqueness of it and how I handle things that can apply to life because it's an individual sport. And in life, it's kind of individual. So I take these same principles. So I speak. I'm able to spend a lot of time with my nieces and nephews now. My sister has 6 kids. My oldest nephew is just as big as I am. He's in 11th grade. He played basketball. Dang. So I love that. I love family. I moved back home to Virginia to enjoy that. And I did a speed camp, right, in Virginia through my foundation, free camp. Then a guy that worked for Nike called me and said, man, we have groups where from football, basketball, baseball, all these things we put on youth camps. So we'll supply the participants with shirts, wristbands, and everything, and we'll do all the back office work, and we'll split the money with you, different percentages. So now I've been giving that back, my knowledge, through these youth speed camps, ages 8 to 18.
You like that?
I like that, man. People, when I do it, people come up and tell me, yo, you really in your element. They can see my face and everything, so I enjoy that.
So you wouldn't ever entertain the idea of coaching?
Right now, I feel like, I'm going to tell you the weird thing. I don't know. I never did the coach's job.
Okay.
So when I go out, I don't know how much rest. I don't know the meters. I don't really know all these things I noticed.
You do know. You just never researched it, but you do know.
Right. I never researched it. But as far as just coaching, I may coach one day, but right now I spent 17 years in the sport. I'm trying to see what the world has for me. Then a coach will just have me just in one place. And I don't want to be at the track that long right now, but I do understand the sport.
Well, I'll tell you all right now, if there's a world we live in where somebody wants to come up with a business proposal or idea, if you could find somebody to go around the country and just be a consultant, I can tell you right now, I'm going to name him and he can kill me later if he wants. But we have a young athlete named Matthew Boylan, and he kind of tenses up at the end of the race. And literally last week, I spent some time with him, and I told him he needs to go watch some of your film and see how relaxed you are in the last 50, last 100. Watch your arms, because he tried to get over-aggressive and just force it. Naturally, I mean, you knew what to do. So I could tell you right now, I mean, don't give up on the sport. Maybe now is not the right time, but there's a world we live in where you should just go back and give that knowledge, because I really do feel like that comes natural for you.
Okay.
And you figure a lot of this stuff out as you go. And let me tell you a secret. These coaches, they got bigger egos than us, and some of them don't know what they're doing either, bro. I'm just gonna be honest. Some of them don't know what they're doing either.
They gotta have something for the athlete to buy into the program.
Right.
You gotta go somewhere and you gotta really buy into it. So they gotta be confident in what they're doing to get the athlete to buy in.
And I'm not talking about your John Smiths and
I'm
not talking about your elites. I'm talking, but you guys remember, you ran in high school. And I say you might have had a good coach. My coach cut me from the track team because he talking about I couldn't make it from one wall to the other back fast enough. He tells me don't tell that. So all coaches are good coaches. You are better than somebody, I promise you that.
I'm with it. Okay.
I mean, that's what's up.
Okay.
And then I'm about to say a few more questions. I know you got to get out of here. You got some. Let's say you actually in India. Are you at a speaking engagement? Is this?
So it's like a tech company, and they're having a conference, and they just bringing me in. I know the owner is friends of a friend. So they're bringing me in to just break up the nerdiness for a couple of minutes of what's going on at this tech convention type of thing. So I'll go in, tell my story, show my medals, take a couple of pictures, and just add a little bit to the day.
All right, and the last thing I got for you before we bring in your surprise guest, man, what's on your bucket list? Yeah, he over here looking around. He boy scared right now. I actually got a few more questions. What's on your bucket list for life, man? Like what? People ask, how do you want to be remembered? Well, at the end of the day, I feel like most of us just want to be remembered. So if that's the case, what do you want to be remembered for? What do you want to do? What do you want to leave with your legacy?
I just want to be known as like a good person, like a good person of character, good character. I want that to really, I'll have all these accolades, but I really want that to define me. Like, that dude was a good dude, man. Like, because I care about that. And just because people are nice guys don't mean they're like good men. And I take pride in, maybe I get it from my dad. My dad he tell me all the time that a good name is worth more than silver and gold. So just being a good person, man.
Do you get mad? I don't think
I don't get mad
as
a
long
lot.
as I've known you, I don't think I've ever seen you mad or curse anybody out. And there's probably a few times you should have.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. I just try to keep it cool. Like I said, I try not to get too high, not get too low. And when you're talking about Matt, that's that character in me, that natural state is what really helped me in the 400. When things got tough, I was able to dial in and try to keep it cool. The hardest part of the race, I was focused on making it look pretty. As long as I made it look pretty, I knew I was in the right, and not overdo it and get too nervous in this fight or flight mode. Just kind of stay grounded and just handle business. And I knew I wasn't going to win every race. That the failure is a secret ingredient to success. So I knew it, but I'm all about the preparation, just preparing right. And I knew every day not going to be my best day, but if I prepare for that day, I take it for what it is. And then make sure I do the rest in recovery, because that's important.
I think the worst reaction I've ever seen them have is something like this. Man, that's messed up. Golly, that's it. Where are the fireworks? Where's the anger, my man? Blow up, get mad.
And you know what, man? It's crazy because I feel like I've never crossed the finish line and showed a lot of excitement either, like the passion type of thing. I feel like if I had that, I would have ran faster.
You like Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, y'all just All right, hold on, wait. Before we get out of here, too. So I'm going to give you this opportunity.
Okay.
4x4. Dream 4x4. You get to pick 3 other runners to run with you. Who are you picking?
Americans or?
Americans.
I would do...
This is going live, too, so...
4x4. I would have to do me, Jeremy.
Okay.
Jeremy was a dog. Me and Jeremy was different because I was always just wanting to win. He would try to destroy people.
Yeah, we got beef.
So me, Jeremy, Mike. I put Mike up there. Who would be the 4th one? Me, Jeremy, Mike.
So it's an old school team, so I like it so far. Keep it old school then. Let's rock with that vibe.
Me, Jeremy, Mike, and I don't know. Would I throw Butch up there?
Butch Reynolds?
Maybe.
Man. All right, Jules, you ready? Can we get this going? Can we make it happen? All right, let's do it.
He about to call somebody?
I'm just asking questions.
What you call it, man?
Hey, you got time? You ready? Hey, big dog, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Man, I just called. I'm sitting here right now talking to somebody, and I asked him put this dream 4x4 together, and he said him, Jeremy. Jeremy was a dog, man. He's like, I try to win the race. Jeremy would try to destroy you. Who you think I'm talking about?
Man, I don't know.
Okay, well, how about this? You put your old school around your era, put a 4x4 together. Let's see who you put on your team.
In my era?
Yep. Americans, only Americans.
Me, Daryl, LaShawn.
No.
Man, who would I put?
Y'all acting like this is hard. Neither one of y'all said me. What's wrong? I'm just joking now. I'm playing. Nah, we already tried that. You, Daryl, LaShawn. Who else? I need one more. Y'all might as well rock with Angelo, man. Go ahead.
I was thinking Los. Jeremy.
Yeah.
What up, big dog?
I can't even tell who that is.
LaShawn Merritt.
Oh.
Wallace got me in here in the studio.
Man. Yeah. Man, I cannot figure out who else I put on there.
That's what I threw Mike. I couldn't think of anybody in that era.
He's a little bit before y'all, but we'll give you MJ. I know you rock with him anyway, Jeremy.
Yeah, but like you take him out, it would.
All right, I'm gonna start some beef then. Who's? Ooh.
X?
Oh,
Yeah, I forgot about.
Oh, okay.
All right, what about this though?
Like Prime X.
Who's running anchor though? Look at both y'all quiet.
My order.
Okay.
I get it.
I put LaShawn first, X second, Daryl third, and then me.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'll let him close.
You could also put.
What do y'all run?
I think we break it.
Y'all running what? 254?
I think so.
With me.
Like all of us in our prime.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
If we put like all our best splits.
All right.
That we've ever ran, yeah, we could break it.
All right. If I take Wade, Michael Norman, Fred Curley, who else they got? Maybe Rob Benjamin right now. Are they giving y'all troubles?
They be close, but no.
And y'all forgot about Karan too, but I'm gonna let that slide though.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Karan.
Yeah.
That's
the thing.
Everything with you, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Everything. You still in Texas?
Yeah, I'm still out here.
Well, we're gonna have him on in a minute, so we're gonna catch up. You have to tune in and watch to see how he's doing as well.
I'm with that, man.
All right, big dog. We'll call you in a bit.
All right, bet.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We had your special guest come in. Okay. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you named him. If you didn't name him, that was gonna be a little awkward, wasn't it?
Nah, I was gonna throw him up there for sure. It's been so many times. In 2008, I asked to run first, and that because I knew it was going. Everybody ran like I knew they could. We was going to win that race anyway. But I knew Jeremy was the type that if we were in front, he was going to still drop something crazy.
I don't know how he does that.
Me, I took the sport like, this is a job. I win the race. I'm not going to exert that much more energy because y'all not paying me that much more money. So my deal was just win races. I was never in it to destroy or anything. It was I win this race
and then on to the next
easiest as possible so I can move on to the next one. Yeah. And I think that helped in the longevity of my career, approaching it that way.
When was your first time beating Jeremy?
I believe it was 2008 before trials in Rome somewhere. It was somewhere because I was getting closer and closer. We watched so much film, man, that...
So he motivated you to be better?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was the guy when I came in. He was the top dog. So it was... And I had only been running the event for 2 years before I turned pro. And I'm going against the guy who has the whole history of the event in his pocket, with his mentor being the world record holder and his coach being the coach of that person. So it's like a guy from Portsmouth, Virginia with a coach who never ran before trying to beat the history of the sport. So it took time.
That's what's up, man.
Of the event. It took time.
Well, we enjoyed watching your battles. We enjoyed your career. We enjoyed all the medals. We wish you well. We hope to get you back at some point, get you more involved in the sport. And by saying you and I will stay connected like usual. So thanks for stopping by, man.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you.
Appreciate it. Always.
Tune in next time. Journey to Gold Zone podcast. You like it? We love it. Let's do it.
Yeah.